You're not loving your soul when you have to sort of press it, burn it, braid it. There is a lack of acceptance of who you are at your core and your physicality when you beat your hair under constant submission.
When you talk about hair texture, you talk about stories. And hair is such an emotional part of, you know, of what you deal with as a woman.
I was born in Ghana in West Africa, and we came here, me and my sister came here when we were 8 years old.
Wigs and weaves and whatever, and I'm like, oh girl, yes, like, oh my god, like, I'm like, she looks amazing, and I'm like, could I wear that? No, like, I admire it, and I think she's beautiful this way, but I couldn't do it.
My pops was like, I'm not having a little black boy that doesn't know his history and what it is, and probably the best way for you to learn it is to have dreads. Me just being kind of like a white education kind of system, and then having dreads allowed me to make sure that I knew my history, knew where I was.
I'm Haitian, so like we are pretty conservative, I would say, when it comes to appearance. So my mom definitely just made sure my hair was just always kept, always kept.
I was born in the Lower East Side, like an artist hub. I was just raised by my mom, who is a white lady, so I didn't really have that, like, you need to get your hair braided, like, you need to get it permed or whatever. Like, she was just like, you know, let it out.
My sister, it's kind of like I can say now, and I can question it as I say it, like she has beautiful hair. Like she never had to have it really relaxed. My mom has very fine curly hair. But for me, I was the one where we were like, everyone was like, what do we do with Erica's hair? So I never really knew what my hair type was, honestly, till I'm 30 years old, and I just figured it out now.
For me, because I have a company that's based on selling the product, selling hair extensions, it's now a marketing tool. I wear extensions.
I only just started using my hair as self-expression because for a long time, like, it was the way I dressed that I felt defined me in some way. Because even all throughout high school, I had relaxed, straight hair.
Being able to touch my own hair, braid my own hair, that's where I felt like my style started.
When I was little, I wore skirts on my head because I wanted long hair, and my mom had like beautiful long brown hair, and like that's just what I wanted. That's what I looked up to. But as I grew up, I just loved it, having it out, and it was the only thing that really like connected me to like being like African American.
I struggled with what beauty was for me because what I was being told was that I was unique. I never was told you're beautiful just for as you are. But when you get older and your hair grows out, then you're gonna be really beautiful one day.
I had a best friend named Angelica who had hair to her knees. And like we would spend all day, like all night, like playing with her, braiding her hair, and she's like, oh, Ziba, it's so like, it's not fair because I can't play with your hair. And I remember, I was like 11, I remember that, and I remember going home after our little play date and being like, oh, like, she's right, like, my hair isn't fun. My hair isn't fun to play with, my hair isn't cool.
Like, if I had, you know, you're my best friend, right? Mm-hmm. Your hair's like that, my hair's like this. I definitely would be like, okay, which one of us should be more proud or something? And it's like, but it's because of certain reactions that we get to our differences. Okay. So that's why we also do put it on ourselves.
So when I cut my hair and I made that decision for the health of my hair, I was like, oh shit, now I have like short hair, what do I do? Because black hair doesn't grow.
Right.
Yeah. I have women who buy extensions and they have full head of just long, beautiful afro hair.
Right.
But also, you know, a lot of them don't have to take care of that hair.
Right.
That's the issue. It's not about having one.
There never existed a standard of hair care for their texture.
Exactly.
I think in the 90s what was really interesting was that, you know, celebrities started to take the place of supermodels. And the handful of black supermodels all had weaves. And that was what you saw. If you saw a black woman, you saw her with a weave in the 90s. And I think the shift really happened where black women started to investigate their natural textures because they simply started to see different images of themselves.
Different people, different establishments, different places want different things. My mother at home doesn't want to see me in this. She wants to see me in a black afro, a black Jerry curl afro. That's the perception she wants. I'm in the club, I'm here for 3 hours, I need a drink paid for. What's the perception I need to give for this transaction to happen? And what do men like? What long hair, what blonde hair? So you give an ombre weave that works for your complexion, there you go.
Like the men that I want to attract, I don't want to attract men who get into this beat.
You know, if you're trying to get a job, you could be confident. I mean, I consider myself confident, but I still want to get that job. Now, getting that job is, you know, how do I get in the door? Then there's another question you ask yourself, once I'm in the door, what do I do? I had an interview with a company that I definitely felt like there's no way they're going to take me in with what I do. So I definitely put in a perm, slicked my hair back, took my nose rings out, you know. And I mean, I went in just kind of saying, you know, I'm not my hair. You know, I can slick it back and still know why I'm doing this. And the interviewer just asked me, like, who else are you looking at to interview with, just different companies? And I told her, one was Comme des Garçons, and she still saw that edge in me. So then if that's the case, then why do we still feel we need to change our hair texture when we're trying to sell our skills? But that is our experience.
I think maybe the most renegade thing I've done so far as negotiating between those worlds of expression is I recently went for an interview at Condé Nast, you know, and they called me in. And when they called me, I was wondering who they thought they were getting. I was like, have they Googled me? Because my eyebrows are blue, I wear spandex, and I'm probably going to come with a loose side heel. But y'all still called me, and I know this is what Condé Nast is looking for. And you know, I told a few close friends who really know what Zandalay gives. I told them, you know, they've called me in. I had this interviews with a senior level HR person. And they were like, girl, what's your hair gonna give? Because at the time I had a blonde high top. You know, the high top's like a Grace Jones cut. And I was like, you know what? I don't know, because I want to give this effect because I could easily pop one on and give you that beat and give you that Chloe bag and, you know, give you a look. But damn, like I don't want to lie to them because probably next week I'm gonna have an afro, you know. And so I just want to sort of be real, you know. Maybe this is my relationship with a real man and not a gay boyfriend, not your ex-man, and not your strange husband. Maybe I could just be who I am. And so you know what? Everything else about me was conservative. My eyebrows were blue or black. I wore pumps, but I had my afro. And to be honest, like I never got a call back.
My favorite story is I was on the subway. And I get on the train, and this black lady comes up to me, and she's like, "You mixed?" I was like, yes, I'm mixed. She's like, "Your mama white?" I said, "Yes." She's like, thought so. And I was just like, okay, like, all right, because my hair was just the way it was, and I remember getting like a lot of hate for having it natural, but now it's like a style, it's trendy. So like today walking down the street, I got about 10 compliments.
I think when I had my head shaved, I definitely got, you know, an exotic more of a response. It wasn't like it was like, oh, you're beautiful.
So true.
It's more like, oh my gosh, I don't know.
I think I've just, in my life, I've erred towards all of this stuff just being a non-issue, because here's what, A, is super uncomfortable to be that hyper-aware and that sensitive about your skin, your body, your hair. It's just uncomfortable, and after a point, it's counterproductive to whatever life goals you might have. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't be fussed and pressed over, oh my God, I'm so dark, oh my God, I'm so thick, oh my God, I'm like, child, I have things to do. And I was like, you know, and I just kind of, and I think ultimately what that is the African woman in me. Because when you're like, when you don't have your papers, you know, you got to pull things together, you got to figure out a way to get through high school, figure out a way to get to college. All these, to me, I feel like very American issues, and it's not to devalue it, it's not to say it's not valid, but they're very American because as the oldest daughter, like I feel like Ziba sort of, I don't know, I feel like you're a little bit sheltered, because for me, what I identify with really is just pure and simply struggle. That's it. Like when's my mom coming home? Because I'm watching you while mom's working the weekend. Like how do I keep you safe? So it's like all this is cool and I get it. I just think that as an African woman growing up in America, it's just been very different.
I like the fact that the change, like the ability to change your look and that chameleon thing is just kind of like, there's something so empowering like that when you were kind of like empowering about it, when you're like, yo, I can change my look, I can put my whole wig in a hat, or like, you know, like I like it this way, or like tomorrow it could be this way. I like to change people's opinion about me through the way in which I look, and then being able to let you know that I'm way smarter than you, even though I have on a pair of crispy pair of yellow Timbs and a blazer.